Hi guys, it's Jodie here from ODE, back with another Love Island chat for you, and I've only gone and pulled the prize and the prize winner. It's Jess and Hugo. Hello, it's so nice to see you.
Lovely to see you.
Have your feet touched the ground? Probably not.
It's been crazy, yeah. It's been like, I was at home for like 2 days, I think you were as well, and then like we came back again, and then it just feels insane. Like it doesn't feel like normal life.
So surreal. Like landing back in the UK, so much going on, so many people, photos, you know,
the
brand
paparazzi,
deals, all
yeah,
sorts of
like the
stuff.
paparazzi were at the airport, and my mum was like, I called my mum and I said, "You better not have orchestrated this." I said, "You better." She was like, "You're joking," as if. But because the press were like to my mum, did she not expect that this would be the case? And I was like, obviously, I wouldn't expect paparazzi to be outside the airport when I'm leaving. But it just doesn't feel real that is kind of what life is like now.
That's my worst nightmare than being at the airport. I come off like half asleep.
Well, if you saw the photos, if I'd have known they were coming, trust me, I would not have worn the outfit that I had on. I did not look my best, but anyway, it is what it is. It was a nice moment to be back reunited with family.
And does it feel really intense for you two as well? Because this isn't normally how a relationship starts, is it? Like,
Do you know what? To the normal person, it would feel intense.
Yeah.
But because it's so intense in the villa.
Yeah, it feels quite nice to be out and not have any pressure.
Yeah, coming out is so different
Yeah.
and it's so nice. It's quite refreshing. Like there's no pressure there. There's no cameras, so we can talk about what we want without it getting aired.
Yeah.
and in a way, is it nice because doing all this stuff kind of forces you to like stay together, so you get a bit more time together?
We said we were going to just take it like really chilled and really slow, but then we're coming down on Sunday and then we've been together like every day. But it's quite nice because I feel like we're just getting on, we're just taking it easy. And it is obviously nice to be able to spend time because we don't then know when we'll see each other again. Because obviously...
there's a bit of distance involved, obviously. It's like 4 hours of a drive.
Yeah.
But, just take each day as it comes. And
Hugo doesn't mind coming to Manchester anyway.
I didn't say that.
4 hours drive isn't that bad, actually.
Exactly, I don't think so. And it's only like 2.5 hours on the train, 3 hours on the train.
So I know we're going right for the jugular right away, but seeing as we're on the subject, what is the relationship status then? What are we calling this?
Just seeing each other.
Yeah, I would say.
I don't know what they call it. What do they call it? Exclusive?
Exclusive, closed off.
Yeah,
I don't get the
it's not.
difference between what exclusive is and being
I would
someone's
say
boyfriend
that-
or girlfriend.
I would say like closed off and exclusive is the same thing because it's like you wouldn't expect the other person to be seeing somebody else.
Yeah,
Right now, I wouldn't expect you to be taking other girls on
No,
dates.
obviously not.
So that's what I would
I
say.
haven't got time.
I'd be terrified for you if you did.
Thanks, girl.
Genuinely.
You wouldn't.
So
do that.
we're closed off, exclusive, seeing each other.
I don't know. Is that what? I
Oh,
don't
we've
know.
not really had the chat. It's just more.
Well, let's have it now. Let's have it now with me here.
Yeah.
What are we calling this?
Oh, I'm not seeing anybody else, and you're not seeing anybody else, are you?
So I guess that's just seeing each other.
Seeing each
This
other.
is a new one we can bring in. Seeing each
No, but
other.
I say that because I think that's quite normal.
Yeah, but my mum always says, "What do you mean seeing someone? Like how? Like
Well, they're
obviously
not your
like
boyfriend, so it's like
like
just
dating.
yeah,
dating." Yeah, but I
let's
feel
call
like
it
in this
that.
day and age, like people like. I think in there as well, like it's a lot because I think there's that risk of someone coming in and then you go with the other person. So it's kind of like, well, we need to close things off so that if someone comes in, you're not allowed to go and speak to somebody. Whereas on the outside, like me and you now, we can continue doing what we're doing. And if someone else comes along who's more suited to you, crack on.
So seeing each other, not necessarily exclusive, locked off. Seeing each other and seeing what happens.
Yeah.
Like we've only known each other 3 weeks.
We said this
and
last
although
night,
it's
didn't
very,
we?
very intense in that villa, it's still 3 weeks. So at the
Yeah.
end of the day, there's still stuff we need to get to know about each other. You know, we're just taking each day as it comes. There's no pressure on it.
No, we're just enjoying
Until
ourselves.
you come on a podcast again.
Until you meet, and I was just about to say that, until you meet people like me that are like, what's
exactly.
happening? But do you feel like when you come out of Love Island, when you are a couple, there is that pressure because the fans just
there
love
is, yeah.
seeing you together as
Yeah.
well?
I think like it's probably more intense coming out in the final. I feel like there's a lot of pressure when you come out the final because if you've won it, if you've come second or third, then you'd probably naturally would feel like a pressure to be like, well, we have to stay together because people have voted for us, they spent the time. Whereas for me and you, because we got kicked out, it's quite nice because obviously it's weird because there's like fan accounts and stuff about us like together, and that is crazy that people are like spending time to make videos. I mean, it's lovely, but that in itself, I don't feel any pressure about it. I think it's lovely that people are doing it, but if that was like times 1,000, I think they probably would be a bit like, whoa, like
Yeah.
we don't want to disappoint people, but we're just being true to ourselves, aren't we? So
100%. Like, at the end of the day, it's about me and you on the outside. It's not about other people. As much as I love the positive support, and there's always going to be a mixture of things. You know,
Yeah.
you together,
yeah.
But at the end of the day, if it works out, then great. If it doesn't, then it doesn't.
Well, talking about a mixture of things, I don't know how much you've seen, but obviously you are a very strong, opinionated woman. I'm Scottish, I'm a triple fire sign, so I am exactly the same. I'm
Love
very
that.
blunt, very direct, straight to the point, so I get it. But obviously there's been mixed opinions, mixed
Yeah.
comments that maybe you were too harsh, you were
Yeah.
too mean. Let's address all of that
Yeah.
right now.
I don't feel like I am that. The way it's been portrayed, I think everyone needs to remember it's a 45-minute reality of 24 hours in a day. And I think that definitely I'm not going to back down and say I'm not strong and opinionated. I'm all them things. And it's something, I was raised by a single mum. It's something I'm proud of and I will never change that. I just think when you come out and you see things, you think, that's been edited to make me look a certain kind of way. And look, I get it. It's a TV show. It needs to be. There always needs to be a villain, doesn't there? But I'm not any of them things. And people who are in the villa wouldn't have been so upset about my departure had I have been these things that people are saying about me. And I think people just need to maybe look into that a little bit more. And the relationships that I had in there, don't get me wrong, there was some fiery ones, but for the most part, like, I got on well with everybody. Like, everyone in there, the girls and the boys. Like, I was so close to a lot of the boys, and then all the girls I was so close to.
Yeah,
so
you do.
I feel like for me, it's disappointing to think that maybe not everything was aired in a way I would want it to be, because there was some wonderful and like lovely times that I was there for the girls and I tried to give advice, and that's all I ever really tried to do. And obviously sometimes that can just come across as being bullshit and a bit too blunt, but that's what us northern girls are like, and it's something that I'll stand by. And everyone who's like from back home has kind of said, you know what, Jess, you were true to yourself the entire time. If you'd have gone in there and sat on the fence and played a game a little bit and maybe took a step back and not got yourself involved in some situations, which people probably are doing in there, then maybe I'd have been called boring and been called a sheep or whatever. So I'm happy to have that title if that's what people want to give me.
And I think sometimes when you are really strong, people then can put more comments in because they think, oh, that's not going to affect her. She's really strong.
Yeah.
She can take it. But
Yeah.
does it have an effect?
Do you know what the thing is? Like, yeah, I always said this, and it's something I stand by. Like, if you give it, you have to be able to take it, and like, I absolutely can. Like, and I think some people are really shocked when I say like, I have got really thick skin. Like, the only thing I was worried about reading the things is like what my family and friends would think, purely because my friends are very much like me, and I think they're probably going to say some comments back, and they just need to be quiet. But it was more my mum, because my mum shouldn't have to read things like that about me. It's not nice. But at the same time, like, everyone who knows me and gets to know me will have a different opinion on me, hopefully, and will see that I'm not as nasty as what people maybe think I am. But yeah, it's not nice to read. Like, no one wants to sit there and read nasty things and people calling you nasty names. But I think when you come into an industry like this, you have to be prepared that not everyone's going to like you, and that's fine. That's what makes the world go around. But
This is quite a niche question from me, but what is your star sign? I need to know.
Taurus.
It makes sense. It makes sense. What's yours? Hugo?
Taurus.
Oh, do it together.
10 days apart, our birthdays.
Oh, that's.
I don't know
Interesting.
much about star signs, but I've heard like everyone's like been in my comments like, you can tell she's
Yeah.
a Taurus. We love this, we love this. So I don't really know what it means. But
Honestly, I could give you like the full lowdown, but it will take over the full podcast, and people are like, Jodie, please shut up. Like when I ask it, people get the ick because I'm like, what's? But I knew it would be a strong one.
did
I
you? Is
knew
it a strong star? Is that a strong star sign?
Strong,
Is it?
bullheaded. Yep.
Well, there you go then. There you go.
We
It's
love-
not my fault. It's the star sign.
It's the start, but you're both. Oh, that's exciting. Anyway, let's not digress. Okay, so let's go back to the time in the villa then. Obviously, you two met in Casa Amor. Quite a big job for you, because when you go into Casa, you've got to try and turn someone's head or
Yeah.
get someone quickly. So do you feel like there was a quick connection in a way because there had to be?
I mean, obviously, watching the show before I went into Casa, I knew that there was an assignment there, and I needed to.
And you understood the
I
assignment.
Loud and
understood the
clear.
assignment. That's a song, isn't it? But yeah, no, I knew what I was, signing up for. There was a debate between me and the family, sort of saying, "Do I want to go into Casa?" I was talked about going in as a bombshell previously, so I know a few people in previous seasons as well that have gone into Casa and not done too well. So I knew that there was a big risk there. But I just thought I'd be myself and I'll go for the people that I fancy the most, pull them for chats. And luckily me and Jess hit it off straight away. And here we are.
And did you like Matilda as well when you went into Casa?
Yeah, like
Right.
attraction-wise, yeah. They're both my types. So they were the ones that I was sort of focused on to try and get to know the most. And obviously I was quick to know that Jess was the one I wanted to pursue.
Were you a little bit miffed that you liked more than one person, or were you like, okay, fair enough?
No, at the end of the day, like, you was coming in and you didn't know what my position was. And at the end of the day, I'd rather, if you'd have just come in and been like, I just want you, like, and to be fair, you kind of did to a degree. Like, you came in and like the first thing, you were quite ballsy when I asked you the question about like who you most excited to meet. Straight away you said you, and I was like, I quite like that. Someone knows
At the same time, I didn't know her situation because we hadn't watched some of it back. So going into Casa, we got told, Harriet's and Ronnie are both gone. So it was like we didn't know exactly what was going on. So I just gave my chance to get to know everyone. You know, until I've had the initial chats with people, I don't know where it's going to go.
Yeah.
But it was difficult. And I know the other boys found it difficult as well.
Yeah, I think the boys had a really hard time in there this year. I think it was like the worst Casa for the boys this year.
3 of the girls were like locked off.
Yeah.
So, you know, it was big competition.
Yeah, it was.
So when was the moment that it clicked and you were like, yep, we really like each other?
I think the initial challenge, there was a bit of eye contact there, wasn't there? Obviously sitting across from each other, and then, you know, there's a big icebreaker. You do the challenge and it's like, kiss so-and-so. So you like, that happened straight away, and then we had a chat straight after, didn't we?
I think for me, like on initial attraction, when the boys came in, I looked at you, and then I also looked at Jake.
Yeah.
You
I'm so bad
forgetting
names. Honestly, my memory is so bad.
Terrible.
Jake, he's lovely. But obviously, off initial attraction, it was between you two, wasn't it? I said this to you, and then me and Jake sat next to each other in the game, and I kind of was thinking, maybe. But then I think where he's so loud, like he's very similar to me, I was thinking maybe this could be like a bit of a clash of personalities. Whereas you were like quietly confident, and this is like not meant to offend you, but he's like very confident, but doesn't need to like kind of own a room.
Yeah.
And I quite like that. And I always said like I probably need somebody to kind of bring me back down to earth and to kind of tame me in a good way. Not kind of put me in a box and tell me to be quiet, but in a way in which like you don't always need to be the centre of attention. So I feel like we had that initial chat, and then we just kept having chats, didn't we? And then we just carried on getting to know each other. So for me, it was probably like after the first chat that I had with you and then with Jake, I went into beach chat and they were like, which one do you kind of prefer? And I was like, definitely Hugo.
I get what you're saying though, because you can't have chaos with chaos. I'm chaotic as well, so I need a guy that can balance that.
Yeah, and what I quite liked about Hugo is in like, you probably won't have seen it, but in like certain challenges we were at, like, there was a conversation that I had with Trey at the time, and it's like we were playing the Never Have I Ever game, and he was kind of a bit like, oh, my eyes have been opening a little bit, you know, you're very loud, aren't you? And I was a bit like, well, yeah, I am very loud.
Hello?
What do you mean by that? And he was like, no, it's just, you know, it's opened my eyes a little bit. And I thought, is he meaning like I'm a bit too loud because I'm never going to change? And he's like, but you know, you should never change. I said, pal, I was never planning on changing anyway.
Yeah.
So it kind of put me off him a little bit. And then that was when towards the end I was a bit like, is this going to work on the outside, when he's obviously kind of questioning how loud I am? Whereas with Hugo, it was never that way. Like there were certain games, like even at the fire pit when we were doing the recoupling with Casa, I was about to like go again with a comment, and he kind of just grabbed my hand and was like, don't do it, it's not worth it.
Aww.
So it wasn't like a way in which to be like, you will not do this. It was kind of like a protection, like you don't need. And I like that. I feel like that's what I need.
You need that.
Yeah, that's what I need.
I would never tell someone how to react or control,
but
that person.
It was a nice thing that you did.
Protective.
Yeah, and I like it because it was kind of like, I didn't need to make the comment. I was going to, but it was kind of like, oh, come on, don't like. And in the end, I was like, I'm so glad I did it now. But I would have, if you hadn't been there, I'd have probably gone hell for leather. So it's probably like, it was like a nice thing. And I said this to the girls, that it's very different because it's not like you were trying to put me in my place. It was just kind of like looking out for me and like, you don't need to do that. And I really rate that and respected that.
Well, talking about before Hugo came in and kept you calm.
I'll leave.
Love triangle.
Yeah.
You, Ronnie, and Harriet. Do you think a lot of the reason why you and Harriet clashed maybe is because you both like the same guy, or is it just that you're so different?
I don't even think. I think Ronnie, the narrative obviously makes sense for it to be Ronnie, and I think there was bits of that, but for me, we were just very different people, and I've always stood by that. Like, on the outside, we wouldn't be friends because we just come from very different places, and we're just not the same person, and that's fine. Like, that is absolutely fine, but it's a shame really, because I feel like it wasn't really played in the sense that me and Harriet had some lovely times, and like there was some wonderful moments, like I was helping her blow dry her eyelashes when Ronnie had made her upset. So if I really wanted him in that way, I would never have done them things for her, and all I ever tried to do was give her advice. And we had some good conversation where I said, like, don't forget who you are, like you deserve to be treated like a queen, like you are amazing. So I feel like a lot of them conversations weren't aired. Don't get me wrong, we had some bickers and we went at each other equally, I feel like, which maybe wasn't portrayed, but yeah, I don't feel like Ronnie was. It's easy to say that Ronnie was the main factor of that, but I think we were just very different people in the end. And it got to a point towards the end, and I was like saying to the producers, like, I just don't think I need to speak to her anymore. Like, I've tried so many times to make friends with her, which on the outside I would just say, we're not the same people. Let's just cut it off. We don't need to be friends. But in there, it's so hard because you're with someone 24/7. So I gave the friendship more tries than I probably would on the outside. And it got to a point where I was like, this is the only thing that's having like a negative impact in me. Like, I shouldn't be getting upset about friendships. So we kind of said, like, I'm not going to speak to her again now. And then obviously Nicole tried to get us to make up, and I did that for Nicole because I didn't want Nicole to feel awkward. And then it spiraled again, and then we never spoke after that. But for me, that would have been the best outcome anyway, because I think we were both having negative impacts with it. And that's the only bad experience that I had in there, because for the most part of it, it was incredible.
And what about to anyone that maybe thought that you were a bit too harsh on Harriet? What would you say?
I think, look, the thing is, like, I feel like it wasn't necessarily edited or shown in a way, like, Harriet did give as good as she got, like, and I think everyone who's been in that villa will also probably agree with me on that sense. Maybe there was some things where I was a little bit harsh, but with my friendship group, and when you're from the north, like, that you are very upfront and you're very blunt, and like, I don't take offence to anything anyone says to me, and I think maybe I just didn't understand that not everyone understands that, and that's maybe one thing I would take away from it. But I also would say, like, you don't see everything that's in there, and you know, if I was the things that people are saying, I wouldn't have been allowed to stay in that villa for as long as I did, and I wouldn't have made the friendships that I made in there.
And talking about the recoupling then, when you came back with lovely Hugo on your arm to Trey, I nearly said Troy as well.
It's easy mistake to make.
It seemed weird because you came back, he had recoupled as well, but there seemed to be a little bit of ag from him. So what was that about?
We were really shocked, weren't we? Because like, he came in and I said to Hugo when we were in the bedroom, I was like, I hope he's coupled up with someone, because I will feel a bit orcs if he's on his own. So when I seen him with someone, I was like, thank God, like, I don't need to be worried. And then I kind of just felt a bit of animosity from him. And then for me, like, if I feel someone's coming, I'm going to come at you as well. Kind of, that's just like a self-defense mechanism. But it was all kind of like light-hearted. And when I spoke to Trey afterwards, he was like, oh, it was just banter. I feel like me and you get the banter. But like, everyone kind of sensed a bit of an awkwardness. It didn't obviously help that I called him by the wrong name, but even that, he still took it on the chin. He found it funny.
I didn't even know. I completely forgot about Trey when I was walking into that villa. Especially in Casa, I didn't care about the villa boys. I just thought, look, it's my chance to get to know someone here. She wasn't locked off, so it was like, is that what we're calling it, locked off?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, locked off.
Exclusive.
Obviously, entering the villa, I was just sort of thinking, oh, how's this going to go down? Is everyone going to like me? But I forgot about Trey. Obviously, then I got to know him. What a lovely guy. Like, really get on with him. Really nice guy.
And was there a moment, as I'm not sure if it was at the recoupling, but there was a moment where someone was upset, and was it Diamante? There was a little thing between you and her. What happened there?
Literally, I think the thing with Diamante is I think Uma had come in and got really upset about Will, and I think Maya had kind of asked her how she was feeling and stuff, and she got really upset, Uma, and then with her laughing, I just wanted to know what was funny, like, why were you laughing at somebody? And then even Maya, I think, said something like, what is it that's funny if you're not laughing at Uma? So, yeah, that's really all. That's the only interaction that I ever had with her. And, yeah, everyone kind of was a bit confused as to why she was laughing. I know she said she wasn't laughing at that situation, but I'm not really sure what else.
But then I think the reason why she said what she said back was because was there not a point where Harriet was crying and you laughed or something? I don't know if that was an edit or...
I think we need to remember that the show is edited, and I would never laugh at a woman if they were upset.
Yeah.
Was I laughing at the game? Yeah, but everybody was laughing at the game. But when Harriet was upset and walked away, I was not laughing at her. I would never do that to somebody. It was never nice, and I actually said it's not that nice. But in the same breath, I did say, you have to be able to, if you're going to give it, you do have to be able to take it. And I think obviously where she got upset, but that's not taken away from the fact that she was upset. But yeah, I would never laugh at her, and I think that's just a reminder that things are edited to look a certain kind of way.
And then there was also a clip where I think it's when Ronnie and Harriet get dumped, and people were like, oh, Jess is trying to hold her laughing. But is that again just people reading into it?
Yeah, people reading into it. Do you know, it was funny because when the texts were going around and they were and I was thinking, what, am I going to get a text? And I never got a text the entire way around, and I thought, there's only a few more people that are going to get this text. And I thought, it's going to be me. I'm going to get this next text. And the minute the text came through and it said Harriet and Ronnie, I thought, what brilliant TV this is going to make that I have to read this text out.
Yeah.
But I kind of had an idea that I was going to have to read that text out. But if anything, I was more nervous to read it out. And I think my voice actually broke in the clip because I was like, Harriet, because it was not a nice situation to be in, and it's also going to have the reaction that it had. But yeah, no, I think if anything, it was probably more like me feeling a bit sick having to read that text out.
And I don't know how much you've seen because obviously your feet haven't really touched the ground, but have you seen any of the things that other people have said about you when they've went on podcasts? Have you seen anything yet?
No, I haven't. I haven't really had much time to kind of watch. I've seen little bits, but again, like, I'm not on here to talk about other people in the drama. I'm here to talk about myself. And if people want to mention me in their podcast and their experiences, then they absolutely can. But I know my people, and then
I love that.
I'll just speak highly of everybody.
Now, is there anything that happened in the villa or anything that you want to clear up? Is there anything that you really want to be like, no, this didn't happen this way or it was this way? Is there anything that you regret? Anything you want to clear up? Because now is the time.
Anything for you?
No, I just think, obviously, as you mentioned there, things do get edited. And obviously, I had a conversation with Io that, you know, got massively blown out of proportion. And then after that, obviously, I think the next thing was basically a little chat we had on the terrace and then recoupling, see you later. So it was like we basically spent a good 2 days after that, sort of
together,
clearing stuff up together, enjoying our time, which didn't get aired at all. Hence why we got asked so many questions when we got out. Are you still together? So glad you got rid of her. I think.
I know, I'm rude.
People are actually coming up to me saying all sorts of things. But
I think as well, like it's important to remember is like where for me, like I'd been quite a statement in that whole series in the sense that it was kind of I was always involved in that drama. To then the last week when we came back to that main villa, I think my friends have kind of said we never saw anything of you, and I think it's important to remember that when things are going really well, that's not entertaining anymore. And like where I was in there and like things were being, oh, why don't you go and have a chat with this person? And I was like, no, I'm actually quite happy doing what I'm doing. And I think it probably is quite confusing to viewers to think, God, she's been involved in all this drama and then now there's nothing. And I think that's because if I'm happy and I want to just spend time with you and get to know him, then why am I going to go and get myself involved in dramas that I don't need to? So I think like where we weren't shown, it's probably because we were actually being quite boring because all we were doing was talking to each other and not doing much interesting stuff. Well, it was interesting for me because finding out about you. But for viewers at home, they want drama, they want, you know, excitement, entertaining, and me learning about your trips to Ibiza and God knows what else isn't maybe that exciting to them.
So looking to the future then, I know we've kind of hashed out the we're seeing each other. What's the plans for the future? Not just together, but obviously going forward. Are you going back to M&S or is that done now?
Well, do you know, it's so funny because my old boss rang me and I caught up with her when I came out. She said, oh, the regional manager's been in and she's asked, when are you coming back? You didn't win it. And I'm like, she said, Jess, it's got a lot of exciting opportunities. She might not be coming back just yet, but it's nice to know they still want me there. Can't be that bad. But yeah, no, for me, I'm just this is such an exciting time that I just want to kind of grasp any opportunity that comes my way. But who knows, I might go back there in a bit.
Other shops are available just to stay. What about you, Hugo?
For me, obviously, when I went into the villa, I told everyone that I was an electrician, DJ, and I run events, tech house music. I run my events in Ibiza, I'll be DJing, that's the career I'm going to go down.
And just finally for you two then, what does the future hold?
We're just going to keep on like taking every day as it comes. Like we're just going to keep going out again, spending time with each other. Maybe I'll come to Ibiza on your next event.
Come to Ibiza.
And
just
then,
have fun.
Yeah,
that's what life's all about. Have fun. And if it blossoms into something else, then great.
Can I come to Ibiza?
Of course you can.
You can come with me.
Yes. Oh, I feel like me and you together, we would end up.
Be feral,
we would end up like,
Less said on that, the better.
Less said on that, the better. Listen, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for coming in, Jess and Hugo, everybody.
Thank you.